It's Too Many Men on the Mic, presented by Netfront LLC. Now here's Coach Drew and Coach Jared.
Too many men on the mic, June 9th edition, a steamy summer St. Louis day. We're just at the beginning of it.
I think we touched 97 today. I'm for it. I'm good. Good. Sweat it out. Makes it difficult on my dog as I can't take the little guy for he's not little. I can't take the guy for a walk unless you get up at 4 a.m. But I'm for it. I'm all right. We waited all year for this.
We did. In February, when we were sitting in the dark and it was cold outside, we were waiting for days like this, and here they are.
Yeah. Pool days. As long as what kills me is when we get that heavy rain like we did yesterday, and then you just see the steam rising off the asphalt.
Yeah.
I can take the 90s. We start crossing into triple digits. It gets a little bit. Gets a little dicey.
Yeah.
Just a little dicey. Yeah. So a lot going on in the last week. I don't know if it's recency bias, but certainly everybody and their brother is calling this the greatest Stanley Cup Finals ever. Maybe the most entertaining. I don't know if it's the greatest ever, but definitely the most entertaining.
I would not say the greatest. I would say a lot of banter around how many points are there going to be? How many goals are going to be scored? Because there's been more goals than I think people were expecting. I think a lot of people were, thinking lockdown defense wins championships. The NFL folks, signaled that kind of approach. But I think we had this on the show, right? I know we had this on the show a couple weeks ago. Are the players getting better? Is the game getting too tough for goalies? And that show was around goals against average going down and goals going up. So to me, this is just another stat that kind of supports that argument that the players are getting better and more goals are being scored.
Yeah, I think every series, and in this series in particular, you have these microcosms of these mini games. Game one, Carolina jumps out to a 2-0 lead, and then it feels like you have a totally different game in the second period when Vegas comes back and they take a 3-2 lead. Then it just feels like each period is a game unto itself. There doesn't seem to be any continuity from period to period, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, I think if you're a coach, you're kind of going, can I just get a complete 60 minutes out of these guys?
Oh yeah.
And it's a game of mistakes right now.
I mean, I've watched, that's a great way to say it, a game of mistakes, because I've watched at least two of the games that appear to me to signal this is the kind of game we're going to have, only for the last 6 or 7 minutes of the game to have 5 goals in 6 minutes, when before the game was pretty much locked down on both sides. So a great lesson to share with our players out there. You got to play the game to the end. You got to play all 60 minutes. Or you got to play all 3 periods. If you're a youth hockey player not playing 20-minute periods, you got to play the entire game all the way to the end, because there could be mistakes that are being made, and then the game could be at hand in the third period.
Well, and in this series, you've had 2 overtime games in the first 3. I wouldn't be surprised. So we're recording here on the 9th. We're going to drop on the 11th. So by the time we drop, we'll be getting ready for game 5 back in the great state of North Carolina. But I think as we relate this to kids again, and to youth hockey and to parents, as we talked last week with Josh Holmes about, giving parents perspective on the difficulty of the game. These are the best two teams in the NHL and some of the best players in the NHL, and they are making mistake after mistake after mistake. And you know what happens when you make a mistake? They keep playing the game. And both teams have taken leads and capitalized on the other team's mistake, and both teams have fought through the mistakes and come back to tie or take the lead. And so I look at this as a great series, as a microcosm of youth hockey, about resiliency, about never giving up. I mean, for crying out loud, the last game, it was 4-0. 4-0. And there was a penalty shot that could have made it 5-0. And Carolina storms back, scores 4 unanswered goals, scores the 3 fastest goals in the history of the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, most teams would be like, hey, you know what? All we got to do is get one of these. We're not going to get game 3. We'll come back. No way. They're like, no, we're going to go out there and Vegas, one man's mistakes, another man's opportunity. Carolina ties it up. I mean, so if you're a hockey player, a youth hockey player, one, I hope you're watching the full game, but if not, remember, watch complete periods, see the entire, game, pick a player to follow, but don't get discouraged. And if you're a coach or a parent, perspective, Shea Theodore, who played on the Canadian Olympic team, made a mistake that cost his team a game. Thomas Hurdle, penalty in overtime, cost his team a game. Actually, Shea Theodore's penalty cost his team to tie it up. So these are the best of the best playing a kid's sport. And I just think it's an awesome, like, we watch these players and we see perfection a lot of times, or we perceive as perfection. But when you see them in this scenario, it's just it's fun to watch, and it's a great lesson and great perspective for kids and coaches and parents at home.
I haven't heard you say crying out loud on the bench.
It's been a while. Crying out loud. Come on.
Well, we got a good topic.
We do.
This is a relevant topic all season long, and it is the cost of youth hockey. Not only getting into youth hockey, continuing on the youth hockey journey. We're going to tackle it from a couple different perspectives. And when you wake up every day and regardless of how you're affiliated politically, and you see gas prices are going up and inflation's going up and costs of groceries are going up. And then you're trying to stuff youth hockey inside of that. That's a challenge, I think, for a lot of families out there. Certainly families that have a desire and want to continue and really feel strongly about, this is a sport we want to continue to invest in and continue on our journey.
And I think it's important to put this in a broader context as well of youth sports in general. It is expensive. It is, in some instances, I think perception is you have to, spend a lot of money in order for your kids to enjoy things. And I think one of the things that certainly I've been guilty of confusing this is participation and development. They're two different things. You should be able to participate in a sport that you enjoy playing without the pressure of, having to follow this strict developmental curve or follow a strict developmental recipe, so to speak, and with the costs that are involved with that. And that's not just a hockey specific item. I mean, hockey does get I think, the articles I've read is outside of equestrian, hockey's the most expensive sport to play. And we've got some data that does support that, not just here in 2026, but, we're looking back 20, 30, 40 years even. But as we were kind of discussing, how do we tackle this and how do we bring this up in a very, I would call it a charged environment. It's a lot of people that are are making some decisions about, what their discretionary income, where it goes to. I went on this journey, or I started this by going to Pure Hockey, and Pure Hockey is just one avenue. There are obviously a lot of different places, but the reality is, whether you're going to Pure Hockey or Ice Warehouse or Hockey Monkey, most new equipment kind of falls within a plus minus of 2 or 3%. And I said, if I had a 7-year-old that I was getting started in hockey, and I picked the least expensive equipment to get that 7-year-old started, from skates up to helmet, including a stick, what would that cost today? And so I went through, and it was about $575 all in to equip the 7-year-old.
And that's brand new gear, right?
Brand new gear. And again, what we want to have this discussion is not just to point fingers and say how terrible and how expensive hockey is. There's a lot of podcasts and a lot of people who will say that and bemoan how expensive it is. We want to bring some tangible data and some solutions, and as an organization and a community, see how we can help. But we're going to get to that. But yeah, $575 for the entry level, least expensive skates, shin guards, pants, elbow pads, shoulder pads, helmet, gloves, and that's starting off with a wooden stick.
See, and I bet a lot of people that are out there that maybe haven't been involved in youth hockey a long time are looking at that and probably having some sticker shock, right? $575 just to get my kid involved in hockey. So let's take a deep breath. Let's talk about a learn to play kid. Let's talk about a young learn to play kid. And what I mean is a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, a maybe approaching a 6U. You don't need to have brand new gear at that age. You also, I would advocate, don't necessarily, unless you know for sure your son or daughter is right-handed or left-handed, get them a wood stick, get a straight one. Let them show you which hand they are after playing with it. But there's ways to defray some of these costs in getting involved. And so wood sticks versus composites, that's a tremendous savings right there. Locally here, where we're based in St. Louis, there's an organization called Play It Again Sports. It's a secondhand gear outlet. They've got some really good stuff. It's not, stuff that's completely worn. There's also youth hockey associations that have swaps. Kids grow out of gear. Those are great ways to get involved in hockey. So while we're talking about challenges, we're also talking about solutions. And at the very, very beginning, before your player has even decided, put the gear on for the first time, told you how much they love hockey or that they're not quite sure. There are ways to defray some of those costs getting started at a very young age.
Yeah. And so I started.
That's my big word of this podcast, defray.
Defray and defer.
Yeah.
So you have a 7-year-old who you're now outfitting to play hockey, $575. Now, a couple things occur here. Oftentimes, parents will say, hey, don't know if he or she's going to stay with this sport. Maybe we'll get the sizes a little bigger for them to grow into. So there are different tactics that we've all done. Now you go to sign up, and now you're looking at anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000, depending on where you are, depending on what ice costs are from a regional standpoint. And let's say as a 7-year-old, you're going to play in we call them jamborees. You play in 2 or 3 of these jamborees. Well, then that incurs team fees that have to be collected. And as you look at this in 2025, to play hockey in a entry-level house style for a 7-year-old hockey player, fully equipped, it's about an average of $3,500 a year. Now you pause for a second. You think, okay, what does that mean to a household? We did a little research here. And again, all of this is everything that we talk about tonight is interconnected with about growing the game, because there are economic barriers that have delayed the growth of this game in this country. It's also delaying the growth of this game in Canada, and even overseas in Europe. The median household income, and I did some research here in 2025 based on the U.S. Census Bureau and a couple other reputable Aspen Institute for Project Play, the Bureau of Labor Statistics for consumer expenditure data. Median household income is about $89,000 before taxes. Take-home pay on average after taxes and pre-tax benefits, if you have that, is about $62,000. So if you have one child that you are equipping and playing hockey, that's about 5.5% of your take-home income, if you're the median household income. And so this is gonna we're gonna pull on this string, and we're gonna pull the string on this. It's hard. And what if you have two kids that want to play hockey?
Yeah.
And so what does that 5.5% represent? I mean, that's almost a year's worth of electricity. That's a potential vacation. And this is, again, we are not talking about, and this is not a discussion about how people spend their money and the decisions they make. This is about hockey and the expense that it is. We have to be very real about this. So I went back and I decided, okay, well, is this like, how does this compare to 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago? It feels high, right? So I did some research. This is where the Aspen Institute for Project Play and Bureau of Labor Statistics for consumer expenditure data come into play. Thank you, Internet. In 2015, 10 years ago, the median household income was about $70,000, $75,000. Take-home pay was about $42,386. Cost to play hockey in the exact same scenario, about $2,700. So actually about 6% of that take-home pay. So very, very comparable to today.
Yeah.
2005, about $2,000, or about 5.8% of the median take-home pay. 1995, about $1,300. So about 5% again. 1985, this is what blew my mind. First of all, the median income take-home, so median income was about $35,000, or was about $27,000, and the take-home pay was about $17,700 in 1985. It cost $900 roughly for one child to play hockey in this exact same scenario. Again, about 5%.
It's consistent.
So at the basis of all of this, the entry into the sport, the financial entry into the sport is per child, is about 5% of your take-home income if you are at the median household income.
Right.
Now, here's where we got to start talking about like where these barriers lie. It's pretty tough. I mean, to shell out that type of money. And statistics say oftentimes families are financing through credit cards or pay apps like Affirm or Zezzle. So there's also this, if you can't pay cash for this and you are financing it, now you have an interest rate on top of that of anywhere from 15 to 25, sometimes 29%. So it's a little deceiving when you're talking about just that household income percentage. And then what happens is the child grows. In 1985, when you had a day like today, 97 degrees in St. Louis, June 9th, chances are there weren't a lot of kids playing hockey, organized hockey. They're putting their skates up, they're grabbing their baseball bats, their baseball gloves, their soccer balls, their tennis rackets, and they're going and playing other sports that are not nearly, or at least weren't nearly as expensive. You didn't have many summer camps. You didn't have additional development leagues. It wasn't to the point where it is today. So I want to kind of get what your thoughts are on just some of those statistics. Just when you're talking about, like, if you're making the median household income, which today is about $90,000, 5% of that income for just entering into 8U hockey. That's a big number.
Well, my first thought is we love our children, right?
100%.
That's why we're spending.
Well, you're spending a lot more than 5% on your kids, no matter what sport they're playing.
Yeah, right. We're starting at 5%. So we all love our kids, and we want our kids to have the things that they want, and for them to have fun and enjoy, especially a sport that hopefully they've signaled already that they, that they truly have an interest in. Which is why, I just wanted to kind of start with, if your entry point is, hey, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out if hockey's a fit for me. There's no reason to go brand new. Try it out, see if you like it. But you make a really good point, because now hockey today is much, much different than it was 10, 20 years ago. And now we're talking about summer camps and summer camps in town, summer camps away, off ice training, skill sessions to work on things, because maybe a coach at the end of your season said, hey, you're doing really good job at these things, but here's some things that I want you to work on. And then player goes and talks to mom and dad are thinking about, oh my gosh, well, we need to make sure that, we're working on these skills, these areas, because we're invested in this sport and we want to continue. And so then that's on top of the 5%. Those are things that you're doing in the summertime. So there's a lot more additive opportunities now than I think there ever were. We were talking about this earlier. I'm a dinosaur, and back when I was a kid, there was one summer session, and I think it was 6 or 8 weeks long, and it was at the local rink by my house, and it was very loose in terms of organization before small area games became a thing. We probably were skating lines, if I can go back and remember that, and then doing a lot of scrimmaging. So not nearly as structured, and we didn't have the benefit of USA Hockey doing these studies with soccer and figuring out how soccer could translate to hockey in small area games and development and make the sport better. So there's just there are more additive opportunities now than I think there have ever been. And then there's, add the social component too. Mom and dad are talking to a friend. What's your kid doing this summer? Oh my gosh, well, my kid's doing this camp and that camp. And then there's this, if they tell you, right.
That's a whole nother
well, that's a whole nother thing. Maybe it's secret and we're not telling anybody. Or maybe it's, fully transparent. Yeah, we're doing this. And then there's the fear of missing out factor of, oh my gosh, well, Sue's doing this, so I better make sure that I get my kid enrolled in these camps. Otherwise, they're going to fall behind. So just more additive opportunities is what I keep going back to.
Last minute of play in this period.
We've got a couple avenues to go down here. I want to speak to a couple of points that you made, because I think you made some very, relevant, you made some relevant points that I want to expand upon. But we're going to pay a quick bill here. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about, okay, Johnny or Jill playing hockey as a 7-year-old, they love the sport and they want to keep playing. What does that look like? And that's where the comparative costs of progressing in the sport have really, really changed. And we're not talking progressing to AAA. We're talking just progressing the normal developmental curve. So we'll be right back here with Too Many Men on the Mic. We're going to pay a quick bill. Don't go anywhere. Hey, St. Louis hockey fans. 5B Designs. Hey, St. Louis hockey families and business leaders. If you need custom gear that stands out and stands for something, it's time to meet 5B Designs. Founded by Shannon Brahini, a proud St. Louis mom and entrepreneur, 5B Designs is a woman-owned small business that brings purpose to custom apparel. Whether you're suiting up your youth or high school hockey team or leveling up your company's branded swag, 5B delivers top-notch quality with a personal touch. You need a team store? No problem. Corporate polos or event giveaways, they've got you covered. 5B makes it easy with fast turnaround, flexible service, and designs your players or employees will love to wear. Check them out at stores.inksoft.com/5B Designs. That's the word 5. And if you're watching on our YouTube feed, go ahead and scan that QR code on the top right corner of your screen and see what great gear and great service looks like. I don't know about you, but I am excited about our new gear coming in. We're going to have hacky sacks, hats, and new T-shirts to be given out to everybody at the Brinks.
Let's go.
Thank you, Shannon, and thank you, 5B Designs. Real quick, before we jump back in, if you're enjoying Too Many Men on the Mic, hit like and subscribe if you're watching on our YouTube channel. It's a quick click for you, but it helps us grow the show and keep bringing you great hockey conversations. You can also follow us on Instagram by scanning the QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen. And be sure to download, follow, and rate the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or you can find all of our content and sources directly on our website at toomanymenonthemic.com. That's the number 2. Those are small things from you that help us keep delivering new guests, downloadable coaching content, and more from the rink. All right, back to the show. All right, and we're back here at Too Many Men on the Mic, period 2.
Period 2.
Period 2. And, you made some great points about how and some of this is there's empirical data that supports this. A lot of it is feeling, when you reach your 40s and for some of us your 50s, you tend to have,
Ouch.
But, one of the things that I also wanted to mention is I went on to Pure Hockey, and obviously Pure Hockey is phenomenal. They have a rewards program. They have they've got great equipment. But oftentimes when you're looking for, you want to get the lowest price, piece of equipment, whether it's skates or gloves or what have you, they're not always there because most of them are obviously picked over. And there is, there's only so much that's being manufactured. So, you're probably in that 5 to 6.5% range as a 7-year-old. Now what happens 2-3 years later? 7 turns into 10, and you're no longer wearing the size 4 skates. You've got to get another pair of skates, or maybe you've grown into these skates, but now you're starting to grow out of them.
You hope you're still in junior skates.
You hope you're still in junior skates. That's correct. But now all of a sudden it's like, wow, really good at the sport, or is enjoying the sport.
Right. And developing.
Yeah. What I found in some of in 3 years, the median household income is only going to go up about 2.5 to 3% year over year. The cost of hockey starts to skyrocket. You're playing more games, which means your registration fee is going to be more expensive. You're looking at equipment becoming, kids are getting bigger. It's becoming a faster game, a little bit more specialized. Maybe that wood stick with the straight blade doesn't work anymore. And these are a lot of these things are wear items as well. So now you're going, maybe your household income's gone up from $89,000 to, let's call it $105,000. Cost of hockey is over $6,500 at that point. We're into double-digit percentage for one child. And again, we're not here to tell people they can or can't play or what they need to do. This is just talking about numbers and cold, hard data and facts. So what do we do? And heaven forbid you break a stick.
Right.
We've all been there. If you're a parent and you see a child, even if it's the other team, nothing bonds hockey fans, parents together more than seeing a kid break their stick, because we're all the collective groan, I think, shakes the rafters. I mean, this is a serious thing. It's I mean, now we're talking 2 vacations or 2 electric bills for the year.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought is Al McInnes shot the puck over 100 miles an hour and is in the Hall of Fame and won 1 Stanley Cup, played in many playoffs. He did it all with a wood stick.
Yeah, he sure did.
So there are options that are out there. At the same time, I think people that are in the hockey community, certainly you're coaching hockey, helping kids develop, are saying, yeah, you could have a wood stick, but technology's gotten to the point where even my own son, his first shot's going to be a snapshot as opposed to maybe a slap shot. And why? Because sticks are more forgiving now. You can shoot with that kind of torque and power from your wrist by using a composite stick. Or maybe before, when you were using a wood stick, if you wanted that kind of power, that kind of torque, that kind of drive in your shot, you got it through using a wood stick. But there are options. That's my first thought around just, stick technology. But you bring up a good point with skates. I mean, a big barrier, a big change for parents with kids that are growing and being part of the sport is growing out of junior skates, which I think's right around a size 6. I'm going off of memory,
Six
I
and
think.
a half, yeah.
6.5.
And intermediate's like a fallacy. That's not even a real thing.
Yeah. But, you're getting into then a senior skate, and that skate that maybe was $300 when you were junior, brand new, not at a second hand or not through a swap and an association, is now $600 to $1,000. And so twice the cost. And so those are real numbers.
Yeah. And let's talk about going up to like a 10U, 12U scenario. Your registration is probably going to jump at least to $2,000, minimum of $2,000. And that's not even taking into account the increased ice costs over the next 3 years from when your kid was a 7-year-old. Team fees are going to go up as well, because now you're not just playing in one jamboree locally and one jamboree out of town. We're going to go to 3 drive out of tournaments, because the big 3 holidays in hockey are Columbus Day, Martin Luther King Jr., and President's Day.
Yep.
And typically what happens is most teams play anywhere from 2 to 4 tournaments. So I just said 3, and they're going to go out of town. And so now your team fees go up a little bit because you've got to cover the expense of those, and you probably have maybe 15 kids on the team. You're still not putting a full 18 skaters,
18
and 2 goalers
skaters.
yet.
Yep.
New skates, new pants, like you said, new shoulder pads, potentially two or 3 sticks.
Yep. And you're breaking sticks because you're growing.
Yep.
And the stick that maybe lasted you all season 2 or 3 years ago might last you 6 weeks now.
Maybe. And now also there's contact, there's not checking full on, but kids get slashed, sticks break. I mean, things happen. I had one of my sons was at practice, and one of his buddies was messing around, and he kind of chopped him, and he broke his stick. I was like, I mean, there was a lot of things going through my mind at that moment, especially since I was coaching on the ice. What's going on?
Well, you can listen to the parents around the glass.
Oh, yeah.
There's I can't tell you how many games I've been at the last couple of years where you're watching a game and a stick breaks and somebody says, "Oh, there's $300 or $400."
Yeah.
And there's kind of a collective groan or sigh amongst the parents of, "Oh my gosh, I'm glad it's not my kid that broke his stick."
So you're looking at registration and team fees for a 10 to 12U player a couple years down the road from when you started, about $2,500. Now, travel for those tournaments. I don't know if you noticed this, but gas and food and lodging is not free, and you have to pay for those when you travel. And sometimes you're maybe rooming with somebody, but most of the time it's each family has their own, because there is a stay to play or a pay to stay mentality with a lot of these tournaments. Another topic for another day.
Right.
Equipment upgrades, and sometimes upgrades may not necessarily mean like going up to the next level of quality. It just means that you're getting a bigger size and you have to $950. So your season cost now goes up to just under $5,000 at $4,800. And assuming that, we're still in that median household range, because the third part of this is going to be talking about what is it really? I mean, what's comfortable? What do you have to, But assuming household take-home grows from the take-home pay of $62,700 to approximately $72,000. Now you've gone from 5.5% to just under 7% of your take-home pay is just to play regular season hockey and be safe and be able to have a stick that works and be able to be with your teammates and have a fun experience on the road. This is where things start to, hey, why not go to this camp? We have a skating coach. There's opportunity here. So now this revised total jumps up maybe another $1,000 over the 12 months. And again, we're not paying for all of this all at once, but it's coming out of that, the disposable income. Well, now you're at almost 10% of your take-home pay is for one child to play youth hockey.
I'll say it again. We love our children.
My thought process is what if little Johnny or little Jill have a little Sally or a little Sammy that want to play hockey coming behind them?
Sure.
And so now this is where the discussion kind of shifts, and it's like, I don't know how people can do this.
Yeah.
And it's
tough.
It impacts our ability to have as widespread availability and exposure to as many children as possible to truly grow this game. And I know that there are programs here in St. Louis. We've got St. Louis Hockey Foundation, which is a phenomenal organization run by the Heffingtons. We have the 47 Fund, which is specific to the St. Louis Rockets organization. I know that every single youth organization recognizes this. But the fact remains that there is a true economic barrier, and it feels that there's a threshold of what families can do.
Yeah. And so, what are options out there? We're, hitting our listeners with a lot of, real world stuff right now, but also real world data to back it up. So what are some of the alternatives? I would argue that youth hockey associations out there, leaders of youth hockey associations, consider multifamily discounts. If you have a family that's got more than one player that's registered, I would also say if you're still on your youth hockey journey and maybe you've played a little bit of ice hockey, but you're not ready to think about skills and camps and things like that. Roller hockey is an alternative. Much cheaper, lots of rec leagues. Oh my gosh, there's even professional leagues now of people playing roller hockey. So that's a way that the game has grown, but a way to, again, I'm going to use my word, defray some of the cost. Consider that. You're still close to the game. You're still using a stick. You're still scanning the area you're playing in. You're just not on a sheet of ice. So, there are some solutions out there to offset some of these real world costs that are involved.
Yeah, I just think of it feels, and there is data to back this up, it feels like, if you're unable to buy into certain aspects of the sport to help with off ice and away from team development, then and maybe this is okay. I tend to think that it's not. But it feels like those folks who excel and eventually maybe move on and continue to get better and play on higher level teams, but don't come from the most fortunate backgrounds, those become more the exception than they should be. And there is an absolute correlation. I'm not going to say causation. So I learned my lesson back in statistics 101. But there is a correlation with family income and ability and disposable income and the ability, not just in hockey, but in all of these sports. Soccer is another one that's notorious for, playing 10 out of 12 months, or in some instances, 13 out of 12 months. And so I know USA Hockey is preaching from the mountaintop of diversification of sports. Don't do hockey year round. It's not, the healthy, but the reality is that's where we are today. And it is, I know stories. And again, these are all anecdotal of people that I've known or heard, but like, how do they do it?
Yeah. How do they do it? But that's where, I go back to pickleball leagues. Seen this recently. I saw a posting of a pickleball organization that was promoting on social media that they had a bunch of hockey players that came in. And through our own discussions with Chicken and Pickle,
yep.
Let's get a hockey players league involved in pickleball as a non-regular season activity. Why? Footwork, agility, lateral movement, scanning, head up, decision making, all things that are involved in being successful in hockey. So there all are alternatives out there. So before you're thinking about, fear of missing out and talking to your friends and thinking about that next camp, think of other sports that are available to you. But you're right. I think all of these sports have become much more specialized, and USA Hockey does a great job at the beginning of your entry into the sport. I think it's fantastic that you can get a player outfitted head to toe in gear. What a great thing that USA Hockey does to get people interested.
Try hockey for free.
To try hockey for free. But
absolutely.
Now we're talking about 9, 10-year-old, 12-year-old. So we're beyond that. We're not trying hockey. We're playing hockey. And we've made a decision that we want to be invested in the sport. So where can we get relief? I would argue relief in other sports. And maybe it's not pickleball. Maybe it's tennis. Maybe it's baseball. I love when kids.
Not necessarily organized.
And it doesn't have to be organized. That's exactly right. It can be just having fun with your friends.
Yep.
I mean, I think we were probably in really good shape as kids way back in the dark ages because we played in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And those weren't organized games. Those were games that came up, but we went out and left our house in the morning, and my mom used to yell from the top of the steps outside and say lunch, and
Yep.
we'd come home for lunch, and then we'd go back out and play, and we'd play till dinner, and she would yell dinner was ready. And if you didn't hear, you missed dinner. And if you came home and had dinner, then you go back out and play again, and maybe play flashlight tag or some other kind of sport like that. So
Ghost in the graveyard.
Yeah, Ghost in the Graveyard. Yeah. So I feel like an old fogey saying it.
Well, you drank from a garden hose too.
And you drank from a garden hose.
Absolutely.
That's right. And you were okay. And you could ride your bike anywhere. So different times now,
Yeah.
But I would argue that some of those things we just need to kind of reflect on and say there are some other alternatives that are out there. So before you're thinking about that camp and fear of missing out, think about that. Think about what's available to you right now that you can do.
Well, look at there's another aspect to this. The inundation, that's another word.
That is a big word.
Write that down. Inundation. The inundation. I can't log into my email, and this has been the case for probably the past 10 years, without come to this skills camp, come and do this development. And it is, and I'm sure it's like this for soccer and basketball and other, I would call them other specialized sports where you have, we've created these tiers. Travel baseball.
Lacrosse
is another one. And so there's this inundation, and parents, many of whom are not as well versed in the culture of youth hockey, think I got to do this.
Yep.
This is what participation looks like.
That's right.
And that's not the case. And I'm not saying that those aren't worthy things to do. It's just we have to be real out here, and it's the cost and it's compounding. It's like exponentially every year a player is in hockey. The cost to participate, not the cost of development, but the cost to participate continues to go up and skyrocket. And there is a point where equipment has to get to that next level. I need to be comfortable. I need to be safe. I need to, I want to be able to perform, and that cost rises. And I don't know what we do as a community. I don't know what this is beyond to the Too Many Men on the Mic show. And it's beyond, I think, even the local hockey organization, waiving. I mean, let's be honest. Coming in and waiving registration fees or doing a $500 discount on those fees is absolutely great, and you want to do it for as many people as you possibly can. But you're still at 5, 6, 7% of your take-home income if you're at the median. It's like you almost have to have it. Not almost. It's like you have to have a take-home pay of at least $125,000.
Well, and this is why I've been arguing constructively with you over the last year or so. So now let's fast forward a little bit. Let's say your player is 14 to 18. So let's say your high school has a organized hockey program. So now not only, and let's say you're still playing club.
Very St. Louis specific, by the way, for our listeners outside the St. Louis area.
Well, no, I mean, but I have to believe,
Absolutely.
I have to believe, pick a city across America, and there's kids that outside of Minnesota, where we know they shut the season down and they have 2 separate seasons. There is bleed between club hockey and high school hockey. And so now if you're going to be a high school hockey player and you're going to continue to play club hockey, some don't. Some make a decision at that point. I'm going to pick one path or the other. I'm not going to play club anymore, and I'm going all in on high school. But let's say you're going to play both. Then you're writing more checks.
Here's another thing. And one of our former guests, Matt Dumichel from the coaching site,
Yep.
has this. I follow him on LinkedIn. He had a great post. I know the graphics were AI, Matt, but because I do it as well, so it looked good. ChatGPT wins again. He had a split screen of a family in a car driving to a tournament, and then a kid on the ice getting reps. Maybe don't go to 3 or 4 tournaments. Maybe go to 1 or 2.
Right.
And that's okay. And again, I know this is where, and this is another dynamic. And again, all of this is we have data to back up the numbers, and a lot of this is observational with many years of being involved with youth hockey. You have different cohorts of income on a team, and some families.
That's another big word, cohorts.
I've been using that a lot lately in my day job. And some of these families have different means. It just is what it is. And so I think that you have to have this is on these individual teams. And even I think it can start at the organizational level. Maybe the organization says, you know what, we don't want our teams at A1 and below going to more than 2 tournaments a year.
Yep.
Or more than 3 tournaments a year tops. And that may make some parents cringe and, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to sit in the lobby of that crappy hotel in South Bend. But just think about it for a second.
Which crappy hotel in South Bend?
There's a couple of them. Shout out to South. Well, they're nice hotels. They just have crappy policies. But that's a whole other story.
It's after you play at the Icebox.
After you play at the Icebox, you want to come back and you don't want to spend $7 for a can of Bud Light.
No,
and they won't let you bring your Bud Light into the hotel. But again,
that's where you make friends with the hotel staff.
It's all interconnected, though. Again, all of this is interconnected. And what I hope that we can do with this show is, here's where we come up with a little segue. We don't just want to talk about doom and gloom, because if you haven't been listening to the show, or you've been living under a rock, Drew and I want to grow this game. We want more kids to play. We want more adults to play because it gets tough playing adult hockey with only 7 guys at the rink. And so we started kicking around. Well, okay, we can talk about this. And a lot of podcasts out there are pointing the finger at the rising cost of hockey and youth sports in general. What are you doing about it?
Well, what we're doing about it is we're trying to help families. And look, I don't know what the number is out there. If we could help one family getting a new pair of skates for their player, outstanding. If we can help 2, even better. If we can help 3 or 4, even better. Why skates? Because skates are probably the most expensive piece of equipment you're going to break. And have to replace at some point. And they don't really break. They just grow out of them. You just grow out of them.
Yep.
Now, you could say I broke 8 sticks this year, and that could eclipse it.
We may be able to help with that, too.
Yeah, but the reality is skates are, without a doubt, the most single expensive piece of equipment that you're going to have to spend money on to outfit your player. And so we've got an initiative to help players and help families get a free pair of skates, right?
So we're partnering with RG and Luna Sports. RG, the source for hockey, we fit your game. Tim Bayless, who's on our show as a former goalie, as a coach here, is donating skates to Too Many Men on the Mic.
Love it.
Right now, I think we've got 2.
Thank you, Tim.
Right now, I think we've got 2 pairs. I think we're going to be able to get a few more. Let's say we're going to get 4 pairs of donated skates. Well, Drew and I are going to leverage our network and go to a couple of very, very well thought of organizations here in St. Louis who work with families who need help paying for hockey. And we're going to go to them. And we're going to say, we are going to donate these skates. Let's get them on the feet of players that need them. And we may look at the beginning of the season, but the worst time to have to get skates is in the middle of the season when you go through a growth spurt. And so we're still working out the details, but we're going to align with potentially a pre-Christmas time, between Christmas and Thanksgiving, when you've been 3 months into and all of a sudden my feet hurt because my skates are too small.
Yeah.
And we're going to put a challenge out there. Drew and I know a lot of coaches. We know a lot of folks in business here in St. Louis, and we're going to ask for some folks to come step up to the plate and potentially help us buy more skates and get more skates on the feet of these kids who need them. We can talk about the numbers, and the numbers are what they are. Like we can't boil the ocean, but what we can do is we can help some very, very, I'm not even going to say needy, some players that maybe they don't have to wait another 6 months to get a pair of skates and skate in pain.
Yep.
And that's what we're here to do. And we're going to put the challenge out there, and we're going to post it on Instagram, YouTube. It's going to be on our website, and we're going to be talking to a lot of folks around town to help us do that. The second thing we're going to do, because whilst you wear skates out, you break sticks. And Coach Ballin in his stick order, we're going to try to at least get at least 10 to maybe a dozen sticks that we're going to go to those same organizations and see if we can find some folks who need to get some new sticks. Maybe they've outgrown their stick. Maybe their stick is too short for them, but they just haven't. It's not in the budget to go get a new stick right now.
Yep.
We're going to try and solve that. And we're going to go to those same organizations and ask them to on our behalf, get those sticks in the right hands and those skates on the right feet. And we're going to hopefully, this is the community aspect of our initiative here. And so, thank you to Tim and RG and Luna Sports. We're going to continue to have this partnership. If you need new gear, maybe give Tim a call, and you can DM me and I'll get you his information, because it's phenomenal what they do. They're also working with Maryville here locally. But this also goes to the Vantage Credit Union partnership we announced last week. We're going to be a community-driven podcast. We're going to start here in St. Louis, and just like we've got guests that come on this show from all over the country and all over the world, maybe this is a little bit of you roll that snowball, although not today because there's no snow outside today, but you roll that snowball down the hill and let's see where it goes. So that's what we're going to do.
I love it. Action. action behind some data. If we can improve just a few families' lives, imagine what we can do. And our hope is that then it spreads to other people that are involved in youth hockey communities all over the country. We've had so many good youth hockey associations over the last year, Florida, Alaska, all over the country. And if we can generate some momentum and spread it, maybe we can do just a little bit to help, again, defray some of those costs.
100%. This is a conversation that is healthy to have. It's ongoing. There are so many facets. Another word.
Right? That is. So
many facets to it. I can't get ice costs to go down. I can't help. I can't make decisions, and I can't clean up your inbox from all the different marketing that comes to you. But if we can help some folks in need, and also as two hockey guys who coach and who have done those camps with their kids and have spent that money, maybe it's an opportunity for us to share some insight and say, hey, maybe not this one, maybe that one, or maybe, there's some alternatives, because we want these kids coming back because they love the game. We don't want to lose kids because it's just, it becomes cost prohibitive. And I think that that's where, I think that everybody involved with this, coaches, parents, administrators, USA Hockey, if we look at this from a community standpoint, we want to invite more people to play. We understand that there are barriers that maybe we don't all face. Everybody's family is different, but have some understanding and figure out ways to help. Then all of a sudden, this goes from 500,000 youth hockey players to 650,000. And then maybe instead of going to overtime to beat Canada 10 years from now, we're kicking Canada's butt. Sorry, my friends in Canada.
Oh, wow.
Because
you tied it right. You tied it right back.
Because USA Hockey is getting our best we're getting some of our best athletes to play this sport.
I think that's what they call a BHAG.
Well, we're going to take a break here for a second, and then we're going to come back and talk about another one of our partners, Drift Hockey, as we do our weekly drill draw. Thanks for tuning in to Too Many Men on the Mic. We will be right back.
Oh, yeah.
Sega 94.
Out in again.
All right, folks, it's that time again for the weekly drill draw. You'll find the drills located at Too Many Men on the Mic in the Coach's Corner. This is brought to you by Drift, the all-in-one hockey tool. And this week, you just go to drifthockey.com to sign up. This week, Coach, I think you've got a drill that we're going to talk about and share with the folks out here. So let's pull it up.
Yeah, this is an edge work drill, and so let's use tires instead of cones. So yeah, let's put a tire right there in the middle dot. Yep, right there.
Why can't I put a tire there?
That's okay.
Oh, okay. Got to move it.
There you go.
Oh, what's going on, drill? What's going on, Drift Hockey? Oh, because I don't know what I'm doing. Hang on. There we go. All right.
And then let's add 4 tires. So think of it as we're just kind of completing an X. No, on that same circle. So bring that tire over, one to the right. So we're going to have one to the right in the bottom, one to the left on the bottom of the circle. Yep. And then take that tire that's at the bottom and move it over to the right. Yep. And then bring 2 more tires in on the top of the circle. Yeah, there we go. And another one over there. Perfect. And let's put a coach up on the top of the blue line next to the boards.
Right here?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And then let's put the players in the corner, starting below the goal line, and let's just do 4 or 5 players there wrapping around the boards below the goal line. All right, so now we're going to get into the part of this. So let's give that first player in line a puck. So the players are going to start this drill. Now, the very first move that the player is going to make as they pick up the puck is they're going to pass to the coach up at the top. And they're going to follow their pass towards the coach. Now, when they get to the top of that top left tire, they're going to pivot around that tire and they're going to turn backwards.
All right. Okay. Now where are we going?
I left out one very important piece of information. That coach is going to give the puck back to that player right as he makes that pivot at the top. Yep, thank you. Perfect. As that player is pivoting backwards, he's going to pivot and go around that tire that's right in the middle of the dot.
Skating backwards.
No, he's forwards now.
Forwards here? Okay.
Yep, so he's forwards and he's going up to that top right tire and now the top right tire, that other side.
Hang on. Let's
yeah. Or bottom right tire if you're looking on the screen. Yes.
Okay. So
yeah, if you're looking on the screen, bottom right tire. And now they're going to pivot to backwards. They're controlling the puck as they're doing this. They're going down. So now they're going to move down to that bottom left tire. They're going to pivot to forwards, go back around that middle tire in the middle, go back to backwards.
Okay.
Now that top left tire, yep. Now they're going to pivot, and they're going to skate around the coach. So that coach is against the boards. That's okay. There'll be enough room. We're going to go around that coach. We're going to circle around, and then we're coming in to shoot on the goal. So a lot of movement here, a lot of things going on. This is an edge work drill. So we're going around the tires. We're using we're skating forwards. We're skating backwards. We're pivoting our feet. We're incorporating some passes to the coach at the beginning. We're getting that puck right back, but then we are handling it. And so I've always thought of this drill as the 5-cone drill. In this case, let's call it the 5-tire drill. And you can run this on both sides. We have it just on one side right now, but you can do it on both sides.
The 5-tire fire drill.
5-tire fire drill. I love it. But as you can see, a lot of things going on here, a lot of movement. You got to keep your head up while you're stick handling both forwards and backwards. And there's just a lot of things happening. And at the end, you get to go in and shoot on the goal. So a great way to control. This is a puck possession drill, but it's also an edge work drill.
Yeah. You can even layer in some progressions here where you have multiple passes back and forth to the coach. Or,
I was just going to say that.
Or
so
even put players, replace the tires of the players and pass the puck and go around the player.
So one progression that I've worked on with my teams when you and I weren't coaching together is we would progress it. And every time you went around a tire, you were passing back to the coach. And so you add an element of complexity to just the same drill, just by incorporating a pass each time that you go around.
I love it. Well, we're going to have this up on our site in the Coach's Corner on toomanymenonthemic.com. Also, follow us on Instagram and YouTube Shorts as we will run this drill this Friday at our practice, and we will have it recorded to show you it in action because my drawing right now probably is not doing it justice.
Oh, I probably could have coached you better on the drill, but there's a lot of movement going on there, so you did fantastic.
Thanks Hockey, Drift, your all-in-one hockey tool for following the drill draw segment.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm 13 again.
Gotta let it play out.
And a shout out to Drift. We're using Drift for our summer hockey program right now, and it's great.
Yeah, it's great. The kids not only are able to communicate their availability as we have the scheduling on there. We put together practice plans. I think our ability to have this economy of time with the kids seeing what's going on before we get on the ice, and they're on their phones more than they're on a desktop. Brian's done an excellent job. If you haven't gone to drifthockey.com and you're a coach, check it out. It is beyond beta. I think he's in MVP status now, but he's always looking for great feedback. I know that he's taken so much of our feedback to help make it even better.
Yeah, and if you're a youth hockey organization and you're in tool paralysis, I would say take a look at Drift. Consider it, and you can share it across coaches. You can build libraries of practice plans, and you can go to toomanymenonthemic.com and grab some of these drills and begin building your library that way. But a great tool, great way to communicate RSVPs, practice plans, communication. There's also a video component if you want to put video in, clip players or have your players clip themselves. But take a look at Drift Hockey.
Well, Coach, we hit a lot of heady topics.
Yeah, but
wading into some, I don't know if it's controversy, just wading into some topics that I think need to be talked about, and that let's not shy away from it.
No, I like that we talked about it. You know, we're covering some ground that, you know, it's kind of hard to hear, but we're also offering some solutions. I can't wait for these skates to get into the hands of kids that need it and families. At the same time, I'm watching the score and the Hurricanes. I know this is Tuesday and we broadcast on Thursday. It's 4-3 Hurricanes. I mean, this is just back and forth, and it's what a great Stanley Cup this has been. This is just a barn burner.
Well, great episode, Drew. Shout out to Grant not being here. We got through it without Grant.
I know.
Felt kind of weird.
It did feel kind of weird, but you know, we got to we got to get Grant out on the ice on one of our summer sessions, and we also have to record it because I feel like Grant's a part of this broadcast, but everybody gets to see him on a screen. We need to get a visual of Grant on the ice and share it with our listeners.
The minute he gets out there, he's going to be playing adult hockey at Winterland, and it's going to become his game too. So
I can't wait to hear him bitch about how sore he is.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Don't forget, if you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. It's a small little gesture that's going to, again, it means the world to us. Follow us on Instagram at Too Many Men Podcast. That's the word TWO. And again, go to our website to get those great coaching downloadable and other content that we have. Coach, that's a wrap. Shoots.
Next week.